One of the greatest football players in the world made a decision that many people frequently do, which is return back to an old employer. And unfortunately, it didn't work. In 2021, Cristiano Ronaldo returned to Manchester United.
Madeira, Manchester, Madrid, Turin, and Manchester again. Restored to this great gallery of the game, a walking work of art. Vintage, beyond valuation, beyond forgery or imitation. 18 years since that trembling teenager of touch and tease first tiptoed onto this storied stage.
It was virtually a homecoming, but within a year, the dream turned into a nightmare for a number of reasons.
I'm not happy the way the old happened, but in the same way, we cannot control some points of our life sometimes.
And there's a lesson in that you too can unpack and take away if you're thinking about this decision. Because going back to somewhere that felt like home can be one of the most emotional decisions. I come across a number of people who want to go back to an organisation, whether it's because they've been made redundant, they missed the organisation, or they've been invited back to a higher paying position within the organisation. I'm not here to tell you whether it's right or wrong, but I'm here to lay down the facts and look at both sides before you make the decision and see what's right for you. Here's the first thing that's worth understanding. When we look back at an employer, we're often looking at it through rose-tinted glasses. We often think about the highlights, the friendships that we've made, the things that are going well or went well, the good times that we shared. It's a really common phenomena.
I love that club. I'm not that kind of guy that forgot the past.
What we tend to forget is the manager that mismanaged us, the meetings that we took that we were undervalued or we couldn't speak up in, or in fact the general malaise that comes with working in that organisation, or the fact that you were held back or not given the promotion at the right time. And this distinction is super important. It's important for you to realise that the moment is actually gone. When Ronaldo went back to Manchester United, it was a completely different setting. For starters, the manager was different, his teammates were different, they were at a different place within the league. It was a different style of play and the entire culture had changed.
Manchester, they need to rebuild everything, in my opinion. The coach say they cannot compete to win the league and Champions League. If you are a Manchester United coach, you cannot say that we're not going to fight to win the league or Champions League. You have to mentally say, listen, maybe we don't have that potential, but
we're going to try.
We're going to try. You have to try.
The badge was the same, the building was the same, but in effect, everything else that made it the Manchester United club that he valued and loved had really changed. This is also exactly what happens at work. Often what I find is that the manager that championed you has moved on, the team that you once loved has scattered, and the culture that you hold in such high esteem has actually changed. And this is the reality that you have to face when you're going back to an organisation. It's also not the fact that the organisation has changed, you have too. The hot skills that made you in demand and really successful might not be what's relevant at the moment within your organisation when you choose to return. Or in fact, you might have outgrown the role that you're going back into or the organisation itself. When Ronaldo went back to Manchester United, he expected the team to evolve around him. And this is where he got it wrong, because the team and the organisation had moved on.
And your career's like a mountain. At the very beginning, you come in, you get a few games, then you come out the team, then you get in, and then you get to the top of the mountain, you're in for about 10 years. And then you come down the other side and you've got to accept whether you have to play for a big club and you accept less games, happens to everybody, or you go to a lesser club and you play all the time. And Cristiano Ronaldo is going to have to go, I think, to somewhere else that's going to play him every week because he can't accept being on the bench, and that's fine.
And he wasn't also at the prime of his career as he once was when he was in his early 20s.
And lots of players have had to sit on that bench and watch him. It's now his turn.
This mismatch between who you were and who you are is the single biggest reason that I see that boomerang employees actually struggle when they return back to an old company. None of this means that going back is a mistake. In fact, the evidence shows that it's a mixed bag when it comes to whether candidates who boomerang back are successful or not. The most important thing I say to the candidates that I work with is, why is it that you are going back to these organisations? What do you expect to achieve? What are you seeking? What do you want to feel? These are all critical in you being able to judge what success looks like for you and what your expectations of the organisation will be.
It's the talented 18-year-old who's going to be replaced by Thierry Henry.
I stayed a bit longer with the Arsenal fans at the end because I knew, I know it's the last game for me in the Premiership, so I just wanted to say thanks.
Scored a couple of goals in his brief time back at Arsenal as a sub. Can he do it again?
When you come on as a sub, you want to help your team and change the game. Anyway, anyhow, when it did happen.
Arshavin up against Bardsley. Got his cross in. Thierry Henry! It just had to happen, didn't it? He's left something to remember him by. And Arsenal have surely snatched a victory in stoppage time at Sunderland.
You really need to understand, is it just that you missed this place that you worked for? Or is it that if you hadn't worked there before and it was a fresh organisation, would you be willing to work there and be interested in taking up this opportunity? If the answer to the latter is yes, then I always encourage candidates to go back, because this shows to me that you're not missing your past version of yourself. You're actually missing what the company is able to offer you at that current time with all your skill sets in check.
This is why I always say to people, my favorite goal is the Leeds goal. And people will say, what? First round of the cup, Leeds are in the championship. And it's the first time I score a goal for my club as a fan. But it's the first time also I let myself go on the goal. I mean, you see there, I was virtually on the verge of crying when I arrived. There was a level of expectation. They wanted to see me again. I wanted to see them again. And everybody went to the stadium for that. People even watched the game for that. For the first time, I felt like I was with the fans. It really went through me like a fan.
You ran to Wenger, didn't you? I remember.
Yeah, I went to Wenger. If I could stop, I would have cried there. You can see I run and then I looked in the air and I'm like, what the is this? Is that what it feels when you score for your club? I understood that part of the game, of my game late, because for me it was like, Thierry, they want you to perform on Tuesday. Thierry, they want you to perform on Wednesday. We finish a game against Blackburn at home. I'm like, okay, I need to be ready for Villarreal in the Champions League. I wasn't enjoying anything. For one day, I lived the dream of a fan, scoring for his club.
If this video was useful, I make frequent videos, often on a Thursday, about thought-provoking, evidence-based careers advice. If that's of interest to you, please do subscribe and I will see you on the next one. Thank you.